Hey, what's up everybody? It's Dan Su here with more Stormbound. Today I'm going to be demonstrating an Ironclad deck. Most of my Ironclad cards aren't that upgraded. You'll see my Destructibots is level 3, which is going to be the biggest problem here, I think. I think it's a really fun deck to use, and it's won a couple games before. And it's probably the heaviest structure deck that you could ever use that is kind of viable, which is 2. I have Upgrade Point and Siege Assembly. Alright, let's get to it. In case you guys weren't aware, there's actually a card being created by the community right now. It's a unit that when it attacks a unit that's weaker, it gets to copy the card into your deck, which can be super cool because, like, for example, if you hit the opponent's Ubis, you can copy like really strong cards into your deck. But at the same time, if you hit like a bunch of 1 strength toads, then like you'll just be copying trash to clutter up your deck. It's a pretty cool mechanic. And as of now, I think you're voting on the card art, and they're all pretty cool. So if you guys haven't heard of that yet, you should definitely check it out. Go to like the Reddit for Stormbound or the Discord, and it'll be right there. Oh yeah, there's also on the Discord, there's talk of hosting a tournament for Stormbound, which hasn't been done before, not that I know of. So that's going to be super interesting also. Like, they're deciding on the rules because people have cards that are upgraded to different levels. And I'm not sure how they're going to run it yet, but either way, I think it's a really great start for Stormbound's community. Oh, and also, it should be coming this month. The devs are making new cards. It's going to be a bunch of dragons, so that's going to be super fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Going to drop this Ubis right here. Hopefully it wipes his board. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Oh yeah, so the dragons, 4 new legendaries, and there's a bunch of rares and commons and epics. Also, actually, the devs named a card after me, so I'm super grateful for that. It's called Dangerous Suitors after Dan Su, which is honestly pretty clever. And the card that's named after me, it's a dragon that gains strength for every other dragon on the board, which is a pretty cool mechanic because it gains strength for both your dragons and the opponent's dragons, which makes it extremely good against countering a dragon deck, which I think is a pretty cool idea. We're about to get destroyed here. So yeah, if dragon decks take off, and I expect they should be, then everyone's going to be throwing my card around. The 4 legendary dragons, which is probably what everyone's interested in, all look pretty cool. I've heard some complaints about things being strong or weak right now, but I think I say this a lot. I would hold off on complaints until we actually see the cards in-game. Like, it's been true in every single card game out there. No matter how much the developers or the players think about cards, no one actually knows what card is good until it happens. So I would just hold off on thinking that a card is too strong or too weak until that happens. Personally, though, it looks like the dragon for winter is very strong because it can gain mana back, and it really plays into winter's current playstyle. It destroys frozen enemies and then gives you mana for each destroyed enemy. And then the swarm one, it flies over units and gives strength to them, which is pretty cool. And lately I have been seeing a couple swarm decks that instead of trying to rush you down, they use the structure to buff their satyrs. So this could definitely fit in the playstyle. And then the Ironclad one flies to the first enemy in front and deals damage to it while pushing it away, which plays into Ironclad's strategy. I don't know, it kind of looks like the weakest one to me, but we'll see about that. What do we do here? I feel like we have to drop Ubis just because he is Ubis. But Link Golems plus first Munir is 19. Yeah, still. Ubis is just too good, man. Oh yeah, and then the last one, which is the swarm, oh no, the Shadowfen dragon, it spawns a bunch of nests which can hatch into dragons. I think the Shadowfen one is actually super strong. Just from the stance of looking at it value wise, it's a unit that can move, and each nest that it spawns already has a baseline of 1 strength. So the way the nest works is if you don't kill it, then it hatches into a dragon next turn. So regardless of whether you kill the nest or not, it's a really strong strength swing either way. So I think the Shadowfen one personally and the Winter one are the strongest. But again, we'll see once it actually turns out. Okay, this is a pretty unfavorable hand. I think we're just handing this guy our win right now. Okay. All right. If he had the proper hand, he could instantly just fill up our front line right now, but hopefully he doesn't. And then the last thing that I would look out for when evaluating the cards is once again, we only see the level 1 versions of the card, and you got to look at which cards scale exponentially well and which cards scale like just like one strength per level. Because a lot of the cards right now, that looks like they deal some sort of AoE, which will make them very, very strong. This is interesting. So as I was saying, like a lot of cards, for example, Toxic Sacrifice, they get really good at later levels, but at level 1, it doesn't really look like a strong card. So in the same way, I think a lot of the cards right now that are released as dragon cards, they could look either abnormally strong or weak for a level 1 card, but after you upgrade it, its power level could change entirely. So that's another thing to look out for. Oh, that's an interesting decision. I think clearing out these units is a priority. Okay, so this is how the deck should play out, which is in case they let one of my structures live, we can start just spamming its value out, like so. Like, we managed to defend our base. I think he made a pretty bad play early on. I haven't been talking a lot about strategy this game, mostly just updates. But so a little into the strategy. I think that playing Ulf the Hammer to heal yourself is, unless you're defending your base actively, it's generally a really weak move. Because if you don't account for the base strength, the amount of value you get from Ulf is very low. And he did that instead of pushing for a board position. And so now, like, he let my structure live, and we're going to get some really solid value off of it. Okay, we have enough mana to play our whole hand. I'm going to play Ubis the Hunter first because I really want to get rid of this pirate. Okay. So we got rid of the pirate, which is really good because now our siege assembly will hit his base for 5. Yeah. If we left the pirate alive, Ubis would have pulled an extra 2 damage, and we could also play Mia, which would have been another extra 2 damage. But the thing is, so the net value would have been the same. Except I prioritize base damage over having a stronger unit. I think that structure-based strategies actually have a lot of potential. The biggest problem is that they tend to lose in the early game. So when a lot of people are playing Swarm, these strategies will do really poorly. But against late game decks, especially winter decks, which tend to go for the late game, if you can land a structure and protect it for just a couple of turns, it becomes extremely powerful. So we have a lot of mana. Let's just chuck that. So our finite loopers isn't in the best position, but I didn't want him to move up front line this time. The alternative would have been to play Destructobots there, and finite loopers is just better. Oh, okay. This is an interesting play. I don't know if he's going to be able to take the siege assembly out anymore. Okay, he can hope. No cigars. All right, that was really weak for him. He didn't get a kill my finite loopers, or he killed them, but he didn't get to block them from spawning, and he also didn't kill the siege assembly. This all happened because he tried to buff his base with Ulf the Hammer, and in some cases that is the right play, but it's situational. You have to make the right choice, and in fact, in this case, if he decided to kill siege assembly with Ulf the Hammer, he would actually gain more value because now I'm dealing 5 damage, whereas he only healed his base for 4 strength. All right, we're gonna check prototypes for sure. Oh, this is This is kind of a sad hand. So this is the problem with playing really low mana cards, is that later on you'll just have like nothing to do with all the extra mana, which is terrible if you're losing. But if you manage to land some structures, then you're getting infinite value anyways. Looks like we're pretty much done. We got a Dr. Mia that can trigger both siege assemblies next turn. Pretty satisfying win. Ascending 3 is a good player. I have a couple of videos, I think, of him whooping my ass. Yeah. He might be also playtesting a different deck, because I see that Moment's Peace, which is pretty unorthodox. Yeah, couldn't even make it past this turn. All right, I'm pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting to win, I'll be honest. But that was a very solid game. All right, playing against an unnamed player, 16 strength. I think we're just gonna drop an upgrade point in because that gives us the most value. Yeah, we pulled a pretty good hand for upgrade point. Gonna be able to plop green prototypes and Dr. Mia next turn. Some of you guys might be wondering, now that there's some new cards coming out, what you should be doing with your fusion stones. Oh, nice. We're playing a really good... This is pretty much the optimal opener. Also a deck that didn't immediately play Swarm Rush against us. This is a really good hand. Some of you guys might be wondering whether you should spend your coins now, your rubies now on packs, or to wait for the patch. I would say, if you're in the lower ranks, by that I mean ranks 20 through 30, I would say I would hold off on buying packs right now. Because the gap between upgrading a card that's level 2 to level 3 is a lot higher than the gap between a level 1 to level 2 card. So it's a lot more efficient to start opening packs to get new cards as opposed to old ones. Ooh, this is a fat Ulf the Hammer. But once again, I don't know if that's the right play. Okay, so I was banking on drawing a low mana card so I could play North Sea Dog real fast. And I think I'm still going to do that. Okay, perfect. This is so perfect. Okay, we're playing like the perfect game right now. This is like, this deck could not run more smoothly. It's too bad we just discarded Siege Assembly, so the chance that we can draw into it next turn is low. But I really love, if we already have the board advantage, the turn 7 Siege Assembly into Dr. Mia. It feels really good, and it's really intimidating too. Yeah, this guy's playing really for the late game, and I think one thing that structure decks do well is that they prepare for the late game. So that if you do make it to the late game, he can... Oh wow, he really blew me out there. Wow. That was pretty sad. So as I was saying, if you do make it to the late game, then even if you don't have a lot of high mana cards, your board presence will keep generating value for you to overtake the opponent. You know the drill. We only play for value. Not all structures can keep providing value. I would say the notable one is Winter's structure, because Winter is the other kingdom that wants to go for the late game, but the structure that gives you mana, you can't actually use all of it in the later turns, which becomes kind of a hindrance. Like, if you do play, say, Lady Rhyme or Siren of the Seas, you'll have a couple turns where you can spend all the mana, but since you're not drawing them every turn, you're going to have some turns where you have your North Sea Dog, you have your gifted recruits, and then the mana is just wasted. Whereas Upgrade Point and Siege Assembly, they just keep on giving. They're the gifts that keep on giving. Oh, wow. He really likes that, Ulf. The thing is, it looks scary, but it's only 9 mana for 15 strength. Alright, we're going to play Ubis first. And then we're going to roll the dice. Oh yeah, always lucky. Okay. Not even a Midwinter Chaos is going to save you now. That new legendary Winter Dragon might, though. Oh. Big Midwinter Chaos coming. Or Wisp Cloud, which is not as good. Wow, actually, yeah, that was pretty feel bad. Okay, so even though we have exactly 9 mana, I'm going to throw away a card in the hopes of pulling Dr. Mia. Oh, and what do you know? Exactly what we needed. So, we're going to put our Dr. Mia down here and snipe him real quick. Alright, that was awesome. He's definitely scared now, shaking in his boots. You don't see a lot of Ironclad decks at rank 1, and when you do, you definitely don't see a 2-structure Ironclad deck. Usually the strategy is to play Dr. Mia with 1 structure, or to play Boosting Elixir, which can give you 12 strength for 4 mana, which is pretty good, and then rush them down. I've lost to a couple decks like that before. But overall, I think it's not as strong as Swarm Rush, for example. Alright, we're probably going to lose this upgrade point here. Yeah. First hit, too. Ooh, Needle Blast. Needle Blast is a really, really good card for countering structures. One of the huge reasons why structures aren't as strong as they could be is because of Needle Blast. Like, structures are already immune to a lot of strategies. You can't freeze them and you can't poison them, but Needle Blast just wrecks them. Alright, how much mana do we got? Gonna toss Finite Loopers. Yeah, see, all that Ulf the Hammer strength can't replace just playing units that are better. Not to bash too hard on Ulf the Hammer. If you guys watch my other videos, you'll know that the main winner deck that I run uses exactly the same thing, a level 4 Ulf the Hammer. And he's really useful for finishing opponents off a lot of the time. Like, if he gets near my base, I'm done for. 1 Ulf and I'm done. But using it to buff your base, when what you should be doing is trying to contest map control and getting as much value on the board as possible. Like, it's really good against fighting swarm decks. If you can get a 5 mana or a 6 mana Gift of the Wise into Ulf the Hammer to just wipe out everything near your base, it's super strong. But it's not very good when we're literally on opposite sides of the map and we're just trying to gain a board presence. Okay, this is a pretty bad hand, but that's to be expected. Oh, we drew first Mutineer again. Okay, let's go for base damage. Scare him a little. So he doesn't have a lot of 2-movement units, which is also a thing that's good against structures. You see this way of defending a structure by putting a weak unit in front of it. That's actually one of the main reasons why I'm running Lawless Herd and North Sea Dog. It's so that you can just plop one in front of a structure. You'll see he can't actually hit this turn, except with his Ulf. Oh, so here we go. But he has to burn it on protecting his base. It's a pretty bad situation for him. Alright, this is GG. Let's let him know it was a good game. I've seen a lot of unnamed players at rank 1, which is kind of sad, because I wish they had a name so that I could remember them. Alright guys, so those are the 2 games that I wanted to demonstrate with this deck. I think it's pretty good, honestly. It outperformed my expectations by a lot. I do know, if you guys have met Wander in the community, he's on Discord a lot, he completely trashed this deck 2 times in a row, so that goes to say something. A couple like last tips. As you'll notice, 2 movement units are really good against structures. Needle Blast is really good against structures. If they ever become too oppressing, just stick more of those in your deck. And don't randomly use Ulf the Hammer to buff your base. Alright, that's it guys. Peace out. I'll see you next time.